Hello, hello. Hello, it is me, Beau. And I'm never going to stop talking. This is Beau Never Stops Talking, episode 1, One Night Stand. Now, if you have ever watched anything from my other channel, you know that this is not the first episode. This is in fact like the 5th, 6th. But I've decided to drag it over to another channel because I noticed every single time I uploaded a podcast, I would lose subscribers. I'd lose people who gave a shit because they were there to watch short films, not a podcast. So this is the official podcast channel. Yeah, big changes. I'm sat in a different spot. I never sit in the same spot ever for the podcast. Sat in a different spot. I have got an intro. What? I didn't even know I had an intro. I've just told myself I do now. And oh yeah, the big one. The whole reason I started this podcast is because one of my favorite podcasts called Good Time by this guy called Elliot is a cool guy. It was a solo podcast, right? And then he took a break, and I was like, well, I should do my own. You know, he's gone. I'll entertain myself. And now he said he's permanently gone. He started another podcast. It's way worse. It's not way worse, but it's definitely worse. And now I'm here. I'm the solo podcast guy. So that's that. That's bloody that. So yeah, that's where I've been. If you've come over, if you haven't come over, welcome. Go check out my other channel. It's just called Beaujan, Beaujan, and that's where I do films. And I do the films to promote my music, which is also under Beaujan. So everything's to promote something else. It's a constant promotion cycle, all boosting myself. How beautiful, right? So yeah, we're back. It's a good day to be back, and I'm happy to be back. What have I been doing in the absence of podcasting? I never actually really stopped. I sort of, since the 2 months since I returned from being back home, I made maybe 3 or 4 episodes for the Pure Vibes, and I hated them. I was rewatching them, and I was like, what is the point? What is the even? Yeah, what is the even? What was the point? So I decided that I had to figure out why, and I found out why. It was the whole reason I always wanted to. When I was in Amsterdam, I briefly did a radio show interview, and I was scheduled to interview a band with this radio station, and I was a bit of a natural. You know, she couldn't quite believe it. Not to boost my own bloody ego, but I really enjoyed it, and I thought one day I'd love to go and do it again. And I thought if I do a podcast for fun, by the time I get on that radio, I will be again an El Natural. Wouldn't be a natural though, would it? Because this is practice. But anyways, it's just a vibe. And I can for real never stop talking. For real. So, who am I? If you've never met me before, never come across me, what am I here for? Well, I'm a musician. I'm an artist. And from doing music for the last 3 years, 4 years, I began trying to find different ways to promote it, because that silly little TikTok game where you do all the shorts and you fucking say, is this the song of the summer? No, absolutely not. I tried it, I hated it. Tried it again, hated it again. So I eventually found myself making films, short films inspired off Westing Anderson, and then it really bloody spiraled. From there I started making a podcast. And it's all initially to inspire this music. And then it's become its whole own thing. Just an identity of Beaujan. And Beaujan is my real name. So yeah, I'm Beaujan on everything. Or the Beaujan on Instagram. And yeah, I'm a creative motherfucker. And that's more or less the gist of it. Just love creating. And if you were creating stuff and just putting it in a folder to never be seen by the world, then I don't get what you're doing. So yeah. That is who I am. That is why I do what I do. And, yeah, this might be one of my last things I do in Bath. I am in Bath for about another month. But I'm only actually in for like 2 weeks. Then I go on holiday, and then I come back and I move to London town. So, you know, I'm making an episode every Wednesday. I'm going to upload it more or less on the same day. I think every Wednesday, Beau Never Stops Talking. And that's embarrassing. I should have my phone. So this might be one of the last episodes I film here, because I'm moving to London town, which is huge. But I've only got about a month left, and 2 weeks away I'm going on holiday, and then I get back and I move. So every Wednesday I film a Beau Never Stops Talking. I'm going to have to figure out how I film that in uni. It's fine. I'll make my room really cool. It will look just like, exactly like this. It won't. It will look something like, I just imagined plants and salt lamps because, I used Pinterest once. But we love it. And I'm enjoying the little bath vibes while I'm still here. I have no idea how I'm going to make it work in a uni dorm. Kind of a vibe though. We'll make it cool. We'll make it groovy. We'll make it work. And then also I have all these cool graphic design guests on, because that's what I'm going to study, is graphic design. Nothing to do with film or music, which doesn't build up to the character I just described to you as. I'm a fucking unicorn, guys. What can I say? One of the next films I'm writing is completely off-piece from what I've been doing so far. I've been doing a lot of artsy, creative Wes Anderson-y type films pretty much since the start of May when I went to Canada. And I've been writing this mockumentary script about Bojan in the films, and it's sort of as if I was like an actor, kind of director character. But it's a very unusual thing. There's this brilliant YouTuber who, I would love to tell you his name, who does stuff like this, and I'm ripping him off. No, good artists copy, great artists steal, and that is me. I'm stealing, just a little. I'll give it back. But yeah, that's the big gist. And I've been playing this asshole basically. I've been writing myself as an asshole, so I'm not starting to become one. You are who you write, I guess some would say. But yeah, and it's been a wonderfully exciting time of the creation this summer. But annoyingly, a lot of these projects are halted. So I had a whole film made. I had to do some reshoots and relines with one of my friends, and they just decided to go and travel in Italy for 3.5, 4 weeks, which is not ideal because the film could have been out, but it's fine. We move. That will be coming out at the end of the month. Another film I've been making, I made the start of it, and then was like, actually, this would be so much better if I was filming it when I go to Morocco. So, well, that's now going to be halted as well. And then I've got to now write new scripts because I've just backed myself into a corner. I wrote myself out of my own bloody timescale of things. It's not useful, guys. Control yourself. But yeah, so we're loving that. And oh my god, a project I've been working on for about 3 years. My album. Ha! It's getting mixed as we speak. It's getting mixed in the mixer, and it sounds great. It sounds wildly unusual. This is songs that I've made over 3 years. This is 3 years of life, right? Like the most recent song I made was September last year, so just under a year ago. But like some of these songs have only just been getting finished, and verses have been redone the other day and yesterday, and even today I re-recorded a few vocals. So it's like it really is a collaboration of a couple years of my life to make this happen. I will not take 3 years on the next album. I only did because I was just like, I reckon there's 2 albums worth of songs in this album if there were to be. There's only like, it's an album of 10, I think. But like, it could have had 30 because there's a bunch of songs that have been in, worked, gone back out again. So it's wild, but I'm really happy with it. I'm really excited about it. And I feel like it's a good progression to be like, okay, I have an album out. I'm moving to London. Let's get a band. Let's get a live show. Let's get shit going. If I've got a whole album, that's a good set's worth. It's a great set's worth. So we're very excited. Very, very excited. Not a name confirmed yet. All of the art is still yet to be done. So there's still lots of fun stuff. All of the fun stuff. So yeah, we're really working on building up a brand identity at the moment of like everything. Like what I've been doing for these last like 2 years in Bath is just creating almost a portfolio of random stuff, like this podcast, like the films, like the music, to be like, damn, I get to London, I've just done all this stuff for ages. It should be really groovy. One thing I should do more is just like stay active with music stuff, like directly talk about, like post music and contact people. And but I find it difficult, man, and the music industry is very cash grabby. It seems like everyone I message, I'm like, hey, do you want to collab, do you want to talk, do you want to, here's a song like you're interested in being your playlist, anything, and they just go, yeah, 50 quid, please. And I'll be like, oh, thought you had genuine interest, you motherfucker. Like, I don't know. It's really annoying. I had the same thing the other day, probably about 7 months ago, with this person who basically chatted to me all about how I felt about the music industry, my music myself, just about everything. It was for this magazine. And I was like, what a cool chat. And they're like, yeah, we'd love to put this in our newspaper, like a little bit about it. And an upcoming artist. At the time I had around like 10k monthly, so shit was happening. And then I was like, that'd be great. And then they were like, oh yeah, it'd be 50 quid. And I thought they're paying me 50 quid for it as well. And I was like, what? This is like dream come true. And then I realized, no, they were asking for 50 quid for them to put it in. Otherwise they weren't going to do it. And I was like, well, I'm not going to fuck you guys. Like, no. Because they've reached out to me. Some bullshit. So the music industry's full of a lot of scumbags. A lot of people are just trying to take your money and tell you that they know everything. But there's no correct way to do it. And I've decided to not let myself get bothered by that. I'm not destined to become a star in the music industry. If it happens, it will happen by however hard work and luck and a little bit of everything, right? Talent, luck, effort, it all comes together. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But it's a big one. Is like, yeah, I can't believe that it's done. And I've really worked hard. And some of these songs are wildly different from others. And just the things, it's a very diverse album. It sounds very unusual and strung together in a very... I haven't even got an order because I need to kind of figure out how each songs can lend each other to the next. It all sounds like me, all very much as a defined sound, but then it's like, how can I make that sound breach into this one, into the next one? But goddamn, I'm excited to have it all happen. So that's something I need to be working on pretty soon, is like having them all actually in order with the art and with everything and the films coming out alongside it. Very creatively exciting thing to do as I get into uni. I do think it's going to probably have a little hiatus as I get in, which is why I'm just trying to make and do as much as I can right now. So those 3-4 weeks as I'm settling into living in London, I've still got stuff kind of trickling out that I'm not necessarily making while I'm just settling in and making friends. Because I don't want to be that guy who is in his dorm editing his film rather than meeting all these new people. Because I've got to make some friends. I've got to make some big city friends. So, but album stuff's going to be exciting. It's going to be really, really cool. And expect to see a lot of cool films, a lot of cool promotion. The Spotify's going to get rejudged soon. It's all going to kind of come together. I could do a waterfall release. I'm thinking about it. I hate the waterfall release. I kind of love the idea of, bosh, here's my big old album. Yeah, but I guess if you want to try and get playlisted, it's the way to go. I probably should. And hopefully, BBC Introducing could pick me back up. That was an old goal of mine. And I'm sort of trying to reflame some old goals, you know? I think the podcast for the radio, music for BBC Introducing. I feel like I should have more goals than that. I think there is. They're not off the top of my head, so they're obviously not that important, but they're still pretty big. I feel like graphic design and film kind of lend each other. They're just there to help and be a vibe. Yeah, they're there to vibe. They're there to make these work. But obviously graphic design, gotta get that degree. Right, we've done a lot of waffling, which is the whole point. It is Beau never stops talking. I don't really care what I talk about. However, I am going to dial in a little bit now. So, one thing I did the other day was I went onto my channel and I was looking through and I looking at the presentation, looking at what's on there, and I sort of went back and watched some vlogs, and I absolutely loved them. First of all, I look a lot different, which was quite cool to see. It was only April, but sort of a lot's changed physically. The way I carry myself, I had a big zing at the time. I was in between two bits of traveling. One thing had been cut short, so I was trying to go to Canada, and I had like 2 months where I was in Bath, where I live, with nothing to do, no friends, just working and like trying to make something happen. And that was a really cool time because I should have hated it, but I was absolutely unbelievably obsessed and driven. And I was making these vlogs the whole time. And what I thought was cool about these vlogs is they didn't really waver my productivity. They were sort of just there in the background whilst I was doing other shit. I really tried to not let them take over my life. And I think the reason they stopped is because I felt like they were a little bit too taking over. They sort of like got a bit too involved in what I was trying to do. But the idea of them was amazing. I loved having a little vlog going. It was very wholesome. It was very connecting with me, and it was very rawly me. It was a very good in-look into my life, and I thought it was really cool. And I now love watching them back, and it was only a couple months ago. So I do think the one thing I'm going to do with this channel, as well as have a podcast every Wednesday, is occasionally, if I just feel like it, There might just be a random little vlog of what I've been getting up to, because I will always appreciate that, and it is almost exclusively for my own being. But again, I like to just make them public, just cause. But I wouldn't put them on the film channel, because I think that Beau channel now should very strictly be music videos, short films, and just very proper. And I really want it to grow. I have no subscriber goal or anything like that. Maybe I should, but it's very much for a vibe, and just to kind of click with my any type of audience, to try and get more flow to music and just me as a creative. So vlogs, I think, might come back. Again, no guarantee when. Like I don't know if I'll do one this week. It might be next week. I might just decide, I'm gonna vlog today, or I'm gonna vlog today and tomorrow, or whatever. But there's no pressure on it. I just sort of, if I feel like it. So that'd be really groovy. So yeah, I really enjoyed them, and I know some people quite liked watching them, especially while I was traveling. Especially, I think, for my friends who are across the world. I guess there's not many anymore, but across the country and stuff, who can watch it and be like, oh, look what Beau's up to, without having to fucking catch up with me, which is some bullshit, right? But yeah, and one other thing, guys. So as of late, I've been gripping a lot with social media. So I deleted Instagram and YouTube, and I only would use them through Google. Oh my god, I think Instagram is in one of the worst places it's ever been. I haven't used TikTok for ages, but good god, I don't know if it's just me, but Instagram is just so bad nowadays. I feel like it's lost its gem. It's very it's so easy to do. One of my friends says doom scroll. You'll just get stuck, and you're like, what am I? What? None of it's even vaguely interesting anymore. I feel like it's almost all bullshit. Yeah, I hate it. But YouTube, on the other hand, I love. I think YouTube's in such a beautiful place right now. There's just so much actual, genuine, creative people trying to make such cool stuff happen, with lovely little communities. Even from my films, I've had a couple people just be so lovely and cool, and comment every video, and there's some really cool vibes. And I think YouTube's got a community side to it, which is really cool. And again, maybe I'm just on the bad side of Instagram. Maybe I've just been caught out with the wrong algorithm. But man, social media is in a weird place right now, and I feel weird posting on it sometimes, because I'm like, I would actively say don't use it too much, but then I'm also one of the people posting and trying to get people to watch it. It feels very counterintuitive. Yeah, interesting one. Very interesting one. I didn't post my last film on Instagram, not for that reason. For the reason of, I always will guaranteely have a lot more people see it on Instagram. I just do. And there was a few things that are bugging me, but I don't have my proper laptop right now with that film on, so I have to just wait. So it will go on soon. But it's a funny one. Funny little battle I have with social media, I do. I'm not sure how I feel about it. And I'm going to round up this podcast, because I have got to go to work with my podcast plan. What's the plan? Jan, what is the plan? The plan is, this is episode 1. I've obviously filmed about 7 episodes, and I am not releasing all of them back onto this channel. There is 2 that I really like. The one I got back from Canada I want to put on as well, because I think that's nice, episode 4. So I'm releasing this one on the 14th, 3, episode 2 and 3, 16th and 18th, episode 4 on the 20th, and then it is going to be every Wednesday from then on. So the next one will either be a week from today, or so on the 21st, which means there'll be loads of podcasts in the first week, or on the 27th, depending on how I'm feeling, to be honest. But I'm going to try and do a film every Wednesday, upload it every Wednesday evening. Bish bash bosh. Should be really good. Should be really nice. And they'll usually be a lot less waffly. I usually have about 4 big bullet points, and I rattle through them and sort of use them as a structure. However, I just wanted to film one. So yeah. And also, I'm going to get some guests on. Get some friends, get some family, get some anyone, really. Whoever I want. Or I could try and message people as well at some point. But pretty much whoever I want. So yeah, this has been a bloody wonderful return episode. And I guess I'll see you very soon. Enjoy all the return, the re-uploaded ones. If you haven't seen them, hopefully you'll enjoy them. And if you have already seen them, you could watch them again if you want. Maybe pop them on while you're doing some graphic design, or some film, or if you're drawing in a book, or if you're making dinner. Hey, I don't make the rules. I just make the podcast. Goodbye.